Welcome. I'm Steph, an intuitive hypnotist from Quebec, Canada.
I'm Julie, a past life regression hypnotist and Reiki healer from Wisconsin.
And together, we are the Soulful Mystics. Hey, Mystics. In this episode, Julie and I get together with Mary to catch up and ask Mary about her edible experience. We spoke for over 2.5 hours about all kinds of things. It was such a great chat, but when we get together, our conversation jumps from one weird thing to another really quickly. So please don't mind the odd transitions between topics. Also, in this chat, I mentioned an episode coming up about a PLR where I experienced a life that may have caused generational trauma. Since we had this conversation at the end of July, that episode that I mentioned is actually already up. It's episode 24, Releasing Migraine. I hope this joyful soul sister hangout brightens your day.
Hi, Mary.
Hi, look at those faces.
I missed you so much.
I miss
Aww.
you guys. I can see you so much better when I can, see you. I
Right?
don't know how else to say.
So tell us about that, Mary.
On those damn edibles.
I'm dying to hear
Okay.
this.
My daughter, I told her, I said, instead of taking Advil PM all the time, trying to get tired and go to sleep, I just want a little buzz, just a little buzz. I don't need to be super stoned, but I don't want to smoke all the time either. It's very harsh on my lungs. She goes, I'll get you some edibles, Mom. I'm like, oh, perfect. Edibles. It's the same thing. I could just take an edible, right? Never had an edible before. So she bought me this little bag of gummies and she didn't give me any directions. She goes, here, these are for you. And finally, I took one and my husband works nights. So I waited till about probably 9:45, maybe, because he gets up and goes to work. And by the time it kicks in, I'll be nice and tired and maybe I'll just be able to sleep. And it's just not, that nice buzzed feeling is what I was going for. Now I looked at the package and they didn't really say. They just said one gummy was a dose, but I don't know how many grams are normal. I don't know. So Jessica didn't tell me how much she takes or what I should do. She just gave them to me and thought I was worldly and knew what I was doing. So I took a whole one. And by the time Ron was leaving for work, it was really setting in. And I literally was laying there on my left side. I had turned the light off. I couldn't even look at the television because it was freaking me out. It was like, no. Everybody Loves Raymond or whatever was on. No, can't be watching that. And I'm twitching my foot, like rubbing my foot. I'm like, oh my God, I am getting super high. And this is like that really too high feeling. And he left for work. I didn't even tell him I did it because I didn't want to hear about it, So he left for work. So now I'm in my house alone. I don't want to get up and I'm laying there. And all of a sudden I would close my eyes. And as I closed my eyes, I wasn't even in my room anymore. I was in my childhood bedroom. And I'm looking over to the left and I can see this window and I'm like, oh. And then I see these bars in front of me and I'm like, I'm in a crib. Like, what? Where? How? And then I'd open my eyes and I'd look around and all of a sudden then I'd be back in my bedroom. And I kept, every time I closed my eyes, I fucking went back to the bedroom that I grew up in. But I don't even know where my mom had the crib at that. I should ask my older brother, like, do you remember, was the crib on to the left when you came up the stairs? Because my bed always was to the right when I grew up. And my sister's bed was to the left as you entered the room. Maybe when I was the only one in that room, she had the crib. And that would totally freak me out if that was the case, because then it's an actual memory and not something my fucking mind was doing to me. But I was laying there like, oh my God, why am I in this crib? And I'm looking around and like, it's nighttime, but there's like light shining in the window and I'm looking around the room and I'm like, oh my God, I'd open my eyes and try to keep my eyes open because every time I closed them, I was back there. And this went on and on and on. I checked the time, like 5 or 10 minutes had gone by. I'm like, oh God, how long am I going to be so stoned? I feel so anxious. And I'm like twitching my leg, just trying to keep myself grounded. You know, that feeling of like, I just got to keep moving that leg, keep feeling this bed underneath me. I'm like, I do not like to be this high. No, never again am I doing this. And I didn't tell anybody for a while. I mean, it took until like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning before I was like, okay, I feel pretty chill now. I could just go to sleep and get up and go pee because I didn't even want to get up and go to the bathroom. Can you imagine me wandering around my house that stoned?
You're wandering around many
what,
houses.
I'm like, where am I? What would I be seeing in my house? No, I didn't even move. I didn't want to look around. I didn't want to do anything.
So do you think there was some significance to that memory?
You know what? It has to be, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, who does that? Who goes back to their crib?
And I know you said also that at one point you closed your eyes, you ended up somewhere else. And it was like
I
a
don't
different
know.
room every time,
Well,
like, or a couple times.
I was in my house. I was in my childhood house, but it was like, it was dark. It was nighttime every time looking around. And then if I opened up my eyes and actually looked in the room, it took a second, but then like, okay, I see the window. I see, the dresser. I recognize where I am. But every time I closed my eyes, I was right back in this other place. And most of it was like in my childhood, like bedroom, but like way back before my sister was born, I was in a crib because that's what those bars were in front of me, were the crib.
So crazy.
And I wasn't laying down. I was sitting there because I could see the bars. I was sitting and looking out of the crib. Isn't that weird?
It's
That's
so
totally
it's fascinating.
But yeah, fascinating for sure.
So I want to come back to this, but can you tell us if you remember what you said about when you told your daughter about this experience and how she said you took a whole gummy?
When I finally fessed up to Jessica because she's the one that gave me the bag. And I'm like, oh, by the way, I am never doing gummies again. She goes, why? What did you do? I'm like, well, first of all, you didn't tell me how to take them. And I took a whole one and it was what? She goes, you took a whole one? She goes, Mom, at most, I will take a half if I really want to get there. She goes, you? Oh my God, Mom. You should probably take like a fourth. I'm like, you never said cut the gummies in 4. How do you cut these gummies? How do you know? I'm like, oh, Jessica. She just like thought I was a total idiot. I'm like, I've never done a gummy. How did I know this? A clue. Like I took a whole one and you would only take a half if you were really going to party. Well, that tells me a whole lot about what I should not be doing with gummies. Oh.
Yeah. And then you were like, so should I eat the head? Should I take
That's
2
what
arms?
I mean. How do you cut
two
a
legs?
gummy? How do you cut it in fourths? How do you measure that out? It's not even even. Like to cut off the head, 2 legs and an arm. Like how do you eat 1/4 of a gummy bear thing?
Oh my God. This kept me up.
And I still
all
don't
night.
have a straight answer. You all laugh at me, but how do you know? Do you just keep nibbling on it until you feel buzzed and then stop? Like this is enough? Because I have that bag of gummy. It's yours if you want them. Because I don't want them. I'm not doing
Mary,
it ever
please
again.
keep taking them and please coming back and telling us more stories.
Okay, so take a head. Take a head next time. And we'll
I'm
each take a
afraid.
head.
I'm like, I don't want to be that fucked up again. No.
Well, if
You know, I
it's
went
just
to-
a head.
I was visiting with my nephew and his wife, and my husband said something about, I don't know, Lauren was talking about, yeah, I like to smoke and get high a little bit, just kind of calms me down. I have a lot of anxiety. And then Ron, my husband, goes, oh, let Mary tell you when she took the gummy. And she goes, you? And I'm like, okay, whatever. So I told her about it. And she had a friend who kind of did the same thing. Somebody that is not, I mean, she parties a little bit, but she's like me. She does not eat gummies like that. She ate a gummy and she called Lauren and left her a message. Lauren saw that it was her and she said, oh, I'm not going to answer that right now. And then she's like, you know what? She never leaves me a message. I should see what she wants, even though they were like laying in bed watching TV. So she listens to the message and her friend, and she saved it, of course. So she played it for me. She goes, oh my God, Lauren, I am wrecked. I ate a whole whatever gummy she had. She said, and I am wrecked. I just need someone to talk to me and tell me that I'm going to be okay and not to call 911.
No.
Oh, so Lauren called her back right away and she kept saying wrecked. She goes, Mary, she doesn't even talk like that. She doesn't say I was wrecked. Like she just doesn't. And so her husband, my nephew, is like, "You're fine. You're just stoned. Just relax. You're not having a heart attack. Don't call 911. They'll laugh at you." Oh my God. I'm
Oh
like,
my
that's
God.
probably what I sounded if I had been talking that night. Because she sounded so effed up. Like, "Lord, I'm wrecked." Like, just, I'm like, that's probably me if I had called one of my kids. Yeah.
Just call
I already
me.
can't. I should. I know. I don't have your number, but I would call you.
Julie and I were just talking about that. I was like, Mary gave me her phone number, but I don't know if we can call from Canada and US. So I have to figure that out.
I know. There's
But
probably a charge, an upcharge for that, right?
I mean, if it's not that much, then I'd be totally cool with it.
Me
Especially
too.
if you're high, call me anytime because I want to hear all about it. And I totally get it. When you said eating the portions of the gummy, I've thought about that because somebody had told me to eat half of it. And I was like, it's literally a gummy bear.
Exactly.
How am I? So I took a bite of half of it, but my mouth goes like this. So I took more than half. And I was like, well, shit. I took more than half. And then
Well,
I
those
started
legs will
panicking.
do you in. Just good you stopped at the torso. You hit the belly button, you're good. If you go
Yeah.
past the belly button to the legs, you're
Done.
going to be fucked up, man. I'm telling you.
Yep. Okay, so after that kinship meeting, for like 2 days, my cheeks and my abs were killing me, okay? Because I was dying laughing. And I was so excited for Julie to see it. And then
She
Gina
wasn't-
said that
she
she wasn't
wasn't-
recording. And I was like, no. It's like, perfect. We're going to have Mary on and we're going to have the exclusive. So what's really impactful was like my medicine day. I told both of you a little bit about it briefly, but Mary, you popped in and Julie was there and you grabbed my hand and you were teleporting me to these different places of my youth, right? So like,
Oh, isn't that funny?
yeah, we went to a place when I was 9, and then we went to like different places where a piece of my soul was left behind. So each time you grabbed my hand, we teleported to that place. And what you said was, you can do hard things. Sometimes it's just better if we do it together. And then Julie said, love and light shines the path. Just follow your light and you'll never get lost. And so I had both of you, you were teleporting me all over the place. And the time you emailed me, and
That's
it
so
was
funny. I know.
it was the same time as the most significant event of the experience. And the woman who was there with me started hugging me. And when we chatted about it afterwards, she said she normally wouldn't do that. She asked for my permission. I said yes. And she felt like it was an out of body experience for her. And she feels that you hopped in and you acted as my armor. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like something Mary would do.
You know, it's funny because I was babysitting my grandson and he was running around. I was making his lunch. And all of a sudden, you came into my mind, like my mind's eye. And I kind of stopped what I was doing. I was watching the stove and I'm like, hey, Steph, why are you on my mind? And I'm like, what is today? I couldn't remember the date. I'm like, oh, maybe she's doing her thing. So I grabbed my phone and it was like 1 something. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe she hasn't started because we're on the same time zone. So I'm like, all right, there's a reason she popped in my head. So I'm going to email her because I think she'll see an email before going on Instagram or DMing her that way. So I sent you that email. I'm like, I'll try to be there. I'm thinking of you. You popped into my head, whatever, I'll try to be there any way I can. And I sent that email. And that was the time that I was thinking, like, you just popped into my mind. And I didn't even realize it was the 20th because I'm like, oh, is it the 20th? She said the 20th, right? Today's the day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's weird how you popped into my mind. You must have been thinking about me too.
I called you because Julie was with me and then you just showed up and I was like, okay, I think we can do this. And we were talking and that's when you said that you can do hard things. Just sometimes it's better to do it together.
That sounds like something I would say too. That is what's weird.
yeah.
Like, it sounds like something I would say to somebody.
I felt like it came from you. And so we went, the 3 of us together. And then as we were there, all these other women showed up. My grandpa showed up. Max was there. There was just like a whole cluster of us. So it wasn't even that you just transported us, but it created that space that I can see that other people support me through this,
Mhm.
which was really amazing. The one thing that really stood out is the day after I did my integration session, and I had told her about your email because I didn't see it until afterwards. And then I read her notes and I saw the times matched up. And what you said was, I hope you're having a nice trip. And she ran to go get a magnet that she had just gotten. And it said, I hope you're having a nice trip.
Whoa.
And she was like, Mary jumped into my body and I gave full permission and she was there with you. That was her. It was not me. And it was so cool.
That sounds like actually beautiful. I mean, because you did so much releasing and healing, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And I think there was a part, and I think it was right after that, where Julie and they also said that there was like a huge release that was visible on the camera. I haven't watched it yet, but I will find it and I'll send it to you because I do think you had a huge part in that, the both of
Aw.
you. I am nervous to watch it because seeing myself on camera is a little nerve-wracking, but I think it's important to realize the impact we have with each other.
Right.
And it's as simple as calling somebody, which is why I wanted to have this chat together, because first I wanted her to hear your hilarious story. I mean, it sounds hilarious. I'm sorry if it was traumatizing for you.
It was fine. I lived through it. I didn't call 911 or anything. No ambulance called. No kids called either, but that was just pure ego. Yeah, you don't want to move.
No, it's so
Keep
it's
tapping your
intense.
foot or something like, okay, I'm grounding. I feel like this underneath me. I'm still here because I'm going somewhere else as soon as I close my eyes. Fuck. It felt like I was like on a balloon.
Oh my God. And then you try to put something on TV where you're like, yeah, this is going to get me out of it. And then it's like, what is happening here?
Everyone loves Raymond. I don't know if you know that show, but
I do.
it was freaking me out. I'm like, how is this show freaking me out? I can't even look at things. No, the things that crack you up when you're high, though. I remember as a kid, I just remember this. I was probably like 17 or 18. It was a Sunday afternoon, hanging out with friends, came home, had to do laundry, whatever. So I'm laying on my bed watching my television, and I'm all by myself on a Sunday afternoon, very stoned. And some National Geographic, very serious show was on about these animals, and they were monkeys, and there was like a flood somewhere. And I'm laughing, but I'm sorry. It was at the time it was hysterical. There was this log, and there was these monkeys trying to climb up on it, and they kept going boom back and forth. And I am laying on my bed dying laughing so hard. And when I think about that now, I'm like, oh my God. But that it was just so funny. Dying laughing. I haven't laughed that hard alone ever.
So are we going to do edibles together at one point? We're going to go to Mary's place. Okay,
my
actually,
God, yeah.
we were talking about a concert that is that place in New York? Because Max said that I'm
Chicago?
losing my mind.
It's
Is
in
Chicago
Illinois.
in New York?
It's in Illinois.
Illinois.
Is Illinois in New York?
No, it's in Chicago.
Is it close to New York?
Not really.
Oh, damn.
Illinois is south of Wisconsin.
I was telling
But
Julie,
we're
she was
keeping
like,
that in.
what about this concert that's in this place? And I was like, heck yeah, we're going to go live with Mary. And she's like, yeah.
I was so confused by that, but I was like, okay, Steph, you know better than I do.
Do I know better? I don't even know what a state is. I was asking Max, I was like, is a state a province or a city here?
Oh, it'd be like a province.
It'd be like a province, I think.
More like
Yeah.
a province.
Mhm.
Yeah. A city would be like there's multiple cities within states, right?
Yeah.
So there's multiple
like-
cities within a province, probably.
Quebec is more like a province, a state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So New York is what, a city or a state?
State.
Both.
And both. New
Oh,
York City,
Okay.
right? And I live, well, a few hundred miles from New York City. I live in Buffalo. Well, not in Buffalo, but close to Buffalo.
Well, we'll find a concert there in Buffalo.
Yes.
And
I told her though, I'm like, but I'm right near the border. I don't know where you'd be coming from, but we're right by the Canadian border. We're not far. I met somebody from Quebec when I was like 17 or 18. I went to Virginia Beach with my brother. And this guy, Johnny and Pierre were from
classic Pierre.
Quebec. And they had another friend with them, but he kind of didn't hang out. And we were like Virginia Beach, but we were staying at one of those economy motel things where they have like a kitchenette, so we could cook. But there was like a pool there, and they were staying there too. And my sister-in-law's friend, who was single, came. So it was Pierre and Jan and Johnny and I would hang out. And I mean, I was just having fun. My brother. I'm on vacation with my brother. But after we left and went home, he wrote a letter, and Jan and Pierre kept in contact, I guess. And he came all the way to see me from Quebec. And I was like dating somebody else or something. I don't know.
The
This was,
Quebec,
like,
they're
so long
very
ago.
romantic.
Oh my God.
He's probably still thinking about you. Like, oh,
Yeah,
the
quite
Mary,
sure. This
the
poor
Mary that
man.
got away.
Oh, so if there's a Johnny and a Pierre, but I'm sure there are many in Quebec. Yeah.
Well,
that
whenever
was,
you come to visit me,
I'll look for Johnny.
you might find him. You'd be like,
Johnny,
Mary's
you
in
remember me?
Quebec. Mary's in Quebec. I can feel her. I can
Johnny.
feel her energy.
DM stuff. Let me know. It's been a couple years, but
He's probably still holding on. I'm telling you, these Frenchmen.
didn't we have this discussion in kin where we
I
were
don't
talking
know.
about looking at our eyes?
Yeah.
Somebody in
We
kinship
have.
said they could not, because I have a hard time.
I
looking
can't.
into my
Oh,
own
that was
eyes.
me. I
Yeah,
can't look
that
at
was
my own
me.
eyes. And so part of the medicine was going to be for me to look in the mirror and do some eye gazing.
Ooh.
And before it happened,
Man,
that's
that
what
would
I
be
did.
freaky.
But looking at other people's eyes in a photo, I can read
Mhm.
them, but I feel it really deeply, even if I don't know the person. If I'm looking and I feel it, it's like the eyes are just so intense, but in a good way too. Like when I saw your eyes, both of your eyes, I was like, I want to be friends with these people. Like it's
Yeah.
like both ways.
Yeah, the eyes are everybody's tell, right? When you have a
Mhm.
tell, you can say what you want, but if I'm looking in your eyes, and there was an exercise we did, and I don't remember what it was, but it was something to like just sit with a friend and just stare eye to eye without saying a word, and like what
That
you'll
makes me
find
wanna
out
throw
about
up.
them. I know. Like I could stare at somebody else's eyes and go wherever,
In a
whatever
photo,
they
but
show
not in
me.
real life. Can you
I
do
could
it in
do
real
that
life?
in real life, but in real life, staring at my own, after a few seconds of it, I almost feel like I'm not even looking at myself.
I get scared.
And it freaks me out when it's
Yeah.
like all of a sudden you're staring and it's not you anymore. Like, who is this?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and then that's freaky. Julie, you have to try it.
Julie, are
Just
you
don't
like
I
that?
In the
want to.
bathroom mirror.
I
In
feel
the
like I can
bathroom
look at
mirror.
my eyes anytime.
She's a Gemini
Just-
though.
Yeah.
I think that she would be able to because she's comfortable with the soul and the body. I don't know. I'm guessing. I am uncomfortable with the soul and the body. So when I look into my
you
eyes,
see
I
like
see
their
the
higher
soul
self. Yes,
through
you
the
see
body.
the higher self through the body.
And I'm like, no, I don't like this.
I can see you. I can look into yours, and I'm okay. I'm
Mhm.
okay. But when I look at my own, and this has been since I remember I had one of those mirrors that you put on the back of a door, and
Mhm.
and I remember sitting on the floor and staring in, and I couldn't, like, even as a teenager, I remember, I don't know why I was trying to do it. I'm like, isn't that weird? Like after you're not seeing yourself.
30 seconds, it's like, what is looking at me right now?
What is, yeah.
I was kicked out of belly dancing class because you had to look at this mirror, stare at your own eyes, and do the dance up until your eyes. And I would just die laughing. I would
Oh.
laugh at being uncomfortable.
There's
And so
no
I was
way.
I was asked to leave because I was making other people feel uncomfortable because they thought I was laughing at them. And how everyone else did it. I could see Julie's eyes. She's ready to go into the mirror. So Julie, when you go into the mirror, you have to stare into your eyes, the pupil.
Yeah, you got to
Stare
look
into it.
into your eye.
Yeah, get Jason or just time yourself on your phone and let us know. Give us the feedback tomorrow or in a week, whenever you feel comfortable, or tonight, whatever.
And there's nothing to think about. Just keep
Just do it.
staring until it's like all of a sudden it's like,
It's
wait a
like,
minute,
oh shit, who
whose
is
eyes
this?
are these?
What is this? What's
Like
happening?
sometimes you get, I don't know. That's the way I feel when I do it for any length of time. It's like, wait, this is freaky. All of a
You're
sudden
like-
I'm not looking at myself or something. I don't know. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
it is. So Julie, let
Yeah.
us know. And
Well, I've got
if you
homework.
don't feel the same way, then you should do a session with us and we figure it out. Be like, who is this? Is this past life? Why am I afraid of my own eyes? Like, yeah.
Right.
So we'll figure it out after you do it.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
I'll report back.
Okay.
Yes, I can't wait to hear.
Well,
We'll
love you
report
both.
back. I'm still staring and it's all good.
3 days later.
Her husband's like, Julie, what are you doing in the bathroom? I'm
Are
waiting
you
until it
okay?
gets weird in here. It's not weird yet.
Oh, he'd probably think it was weird a long time ago.
Yeah. That would be so funny. That would be hilarious,
Oh.
actually. So even report back if that's what happens.
Okay.
If we don't hear from Julie in 3 days, we'll know.
She's still staring, waiting for it to get weird.
Oh God. By then the mirror, I'm sure, will turn into some kind of portal and take me away to another planet.
Yeah, I feel like
You know,
that's what
isn't that-
happens.
maybe that's what it
Maybe.
is. Maybe it's like you just stare so long that
It's like portal, shit, close it.
Yeah.
right.
Isn't
Panic.
There
that-
goes your pupil.
Isn't there a name for that though? Isn't that called scrying? Like when you stare into a mirror in the dark and then you just write down everything you experience?
I think if you have the intention that you're doing it
Yeah.
to see a spirit or whatever, like your eyes kind of shift or change a little bit, and it could be like your pupils adjusting, and that's
Mhm.
what I'm seeing. But like the more you stare, it's like
The
you
weirder
are
it
looking
gets.
into yourself, and it's like, who are these eyes? I'll do it again today just to see. Like,
Oh,
okay,
you're
can I do
brave
this
because
for-
I am not.
well, I've got to get. It's my
Steph's
eyes.
like,
Like,
"That's a
what's
hard
in there
no."
that I don't already know?
If you report back and say that it was cool, then maybe I'll try it on a Zoom with the 3 of us just in case I lose my shit, and then you guys can support me afterwards.
And then you have to practice touching your eye.
Oh, no, don't touch your
no,
eye.
No.
That's
It
a
doesn't
hard
bother.
no.
See, that doesn't bother me. Any of that.
Oh my
stuff.
God,
I know
Mary,
that
no.
stuff. That doesn't bother me.
Did she stop?
She
Yeah.
stopped.
I never was touching it anyway. I was just like pretending.
Just in case you did, I didn't want to faint on camera because then I know Julie would use it. Be like, you want to see the time Steph passed out? And then it would just be on repeat. And if
Mary
you
just
didn't,
touched her eye.
Oh,
out like a light.
TikTok.
What did Mary touch and Steph passed out? Her eye.
It doesn't take much, honestly. It really doesn't take much. Like a paper cut, and I'm like, oh my God, I can feel it opening. I super glue it because if I feel it opening, I'm out like a light.
Well, that is paper cuts are a bitch. I
Right?
know there's a lot worse things in this world, but ow, mother of God.
Just super glue it. If you super glue it, you don't feel it opening, and then it's like it doesn't exist. And then when the super glue fades, you just keep adding it until it heals.
Don't
That's
they have an actual like liquid Band-Aid that you could
I
do
think
instead of
so.
super glue?
Yeah.
I mean,
I could see me
probably.
walking around like this because I put super glue on.
I've walked around like that, and I'm like, I got a paper cut.
I have a paper cut, and
Take it or leave
eventually
it.
Stephanie tells me this will wear off, and I'll be able to pull my fingers apart.
But you don't want to do that too soon because then that's
No.
even worse than a paper
I'll
cut.
have a big mess on my hands, I think.
That's hilarious. So glad this
I actually
conversation
glued my
continued.
finger to
Yeah.
my counter. You know the side of a cheap counter? Well, one was broken and it was flopping. So I'm like, I'm just going to super glue this because this is annoying because if you catch it, it goes.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I did it, but I must have got some super glue. So I'm holding it and my finger was there. I'm like, oops, what am I going to do now? I had to rip my finger off the side.
You did it?
Yeah, but luckily it wasn't a lot of, I mean, it wasn't like the whole finger, but there must have been some on there. And I went boop and
You
I
know-
held it and it worked
Good.
really fast. My finger was
does.
stuck to the damn thing.
Because
And then it
it's
didn't
super.
stick it didn't stick on the other side where it was supposed to. It stuck on my finger and my finger stuck
course.
to it.
You know, one time I had a pencil, like an actual pencil that was wood. You guys have that there in America?
Yes.
Yes,
So
we
it
have
was-
one.
You have wood? Good.
Not just in Quebec. We got them here.
So it was sliced. I don't know who sliced it, but I turned it around and slid my finger down to erase, went right into my finger. The whole pencil was stuck to my finger. And I was like, well, this is my life now.
Oh,
This is my life. And
that's one hell of a sliver.
I know. And my brother's like, just let me pull it off. And I was like, if you touch me, I will burn you alive. Like, I know. I slept with it.
You did not.
I did. And I barely slept because I thought my brother was going to come in and rip it off. If I have a sliver, it lives in me. I have one now, actually. I don't know where I got it from. It lives in me. And I'm not afraid of pain. I was like, I'll just super glue it and I'll live with a pencil on my finger for the rest of
How
the
far
time.
in was it?
It was like a good inch and a half.
Oh my
It-
God.
Because you do it so quick, right? You flip it and you go down, and I felt it go through my
Ooh.
finger, and it was bleeding. So it was thick enough at the beginning, and then at the end it was like very faint. So he wanted to cut it from the end and then pull it out, and I was like, nope.
No
one's
How
touching
did you,
this.
how did you
No.
finally get it out?
When I was sleeping, the freaking bastard ripped it off.
Good for
Well,
him.
I mean, good for him. Because I woke up
You
and
would
I was
look
like,
pretty
"Huh?"
funny with that pencil in your finger at this.
I couldn't go to school. My mom was like, you're not going to school like that. And I was like, well, I was doing my homework. This is like, what do you call like
Oh.
workman's compensation?
I don't think that counts.
No.
No,
How
so
old
she
were you?
So I have a
is
story
like
for you, Steph.
14.
Oh my God.
So for whatever reason, one day I found a pencil at the park and I picked it up and I was playing with it. And then I decided to chase my brother with said
Oh,
pencil
God.
in my hand.
This isn't going to end well.
No.
No.
I ended up tripping
Oh,
and
no.
I fell on him. The pencil stabbed in his back and the lead broke off. And to this day, he
has
has
a
a
mark.
chunk of lead in his back. And he never forgot that. And he
Oh, I would-
still
I wouldn't either.
no. He
You
still
stabbed him in the
brings it
back.
up. That was
my
like
God.
35 years ago. He still brings it
Oh.
up.
Especially if you have a mark to prove it. You'd be
Uh,
like, you remember
yeah.
this? You remember this?
Hey, right here.
This right here? You
See
did
that little
that.
graphite back there? Yeah, that's you, Julie.
I left my mark on my brother.
It is graphite in my back.
Good times.
I don't think I've had any pencil accidents. I'm trying to remember, but I don't remember any.
I have another one.
Oh my God.
This was a wooden pencil with lead.
What was the first one? You told me you had wooden pencils.
She's teasing you.
Oh, okay. You got me. It's not hard, so don't be proud of yourself.
That was freaking awesome.
You could have said metal and I would have been like, what? Why did they stop using metal? Because you stabbed your brother?
They have mechanical pencils that are like plastic. They do.
But not when she was 4.
No, when
No,
I
they're
was
mostly-
little.
They're mostly wood.
Okay.
Yes, mostly wood. When I was little, he stuck a pencil up my nose and it just started gushing. So I feel like I got him back because I think
That's
happened
poetic justice,
first.
you chasing and
I
stabbing him.
know.
That
I
is
know.
precision, though. Like,
Yeah.
that's a small hole to be like,
Yeah.
you know,
I don't
you had
know
to
how he
hold
did
back.
it, but he did it. Yeah.
Oh
Wow.
my Lord.
Right in the nose, eh? And you started bleeding?
Right up the nose.
stuck?
Yeah.
Did
No.
someone had-
No,
You
I
just
don't remember
stabbed it?
that. It just went real quick and that just started bleeding.
Yeah.
Ugh, yeah. Those are the
so-
only pencil accidents that I know of.
That's enough.
Yeah. Right in
Totally
the
enough.
nose. That probably hit your brain.
That explains it.
That activated everything. That third eye.
That was like, I'm a medium now.
woke that little sucker right up.
When I was younger, I used to get nosebleeds all the time. Really gross. But sometimes long pieces of blood would come out and I
Oh,
thought they
no.
were
Like
like
clots.
veins. And I was like, oh my God, my brain is losing its veins. Like I would pass out because of those veins or clots. Ugh, clots.
Gross.
Well, it's boogers and blood. Yeah, that's what it is.
Not a fan of the nose either.
Oh, stop. Oh, you are sensitive.
Yep.
my
so
cheeks hurt.
we will cut some of that out.
I'm editing this one.
Yeah, of course you are.
But pencils are wood. We know that. No?
Yeah,
In
but
all
we
countries, probably.
Steph, we always tell people about your questions, so we have to give them examples of what we mean.
this was the best phone call ever. It's not even the phone. The best
I
computer
don't know
call.
how I'm gonna edit this conversation.
I'll do
It's
it.
gonna be all over the place.
All
I'll do
over.
it.
No, I'll do it because there's things that I want to cut out. I had
Okay,
so
well-
much fun editing the last episode. It took me forever because Mary and I both say like.
I know.
You say that I don't as much?
No, nowhere
Really?
near as much. I drive myself nuts when I'm like editing myself. I'm like, good Lord.
Like editing.
Don't I have any other words in my language that I could say?
I know.
Or I always say wow because I'm always fascinated by everything.
Living the
You're listening.
dream.
Yeah.
Okay, well, have a good night, ladies.
Yes.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Mary.
Thank you so
Ah,
much.
thank you. It was so much fun.
We should chat more often.
This should
We
be like
should.
a monthly episode.
Random, right?
Okay, have a good night.
Okay.
I'll see you guys
Bye.
soon.
Yes.
Bye.
And that's it for today's episode. Until next time, stay curious.